Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Jeff Holiday, and today I have quite an interesting news story I wanted to share with you. Now, I don't commonly do a whole lot of breaking news sorts of things on this channel. Maybe sometimes I should, but this is a particularly fascinating case. You see, it seems that an anti-vaxxer decided to throw a cup of her menstrual blood at California lawmakers inside the California Senate. Oh yes, but before we get to that, this comes on the coattails of a whole lot of really troubling things that have been coming out of the anti-vax cult. You see, one of the big problems with them is that they have to try and perpetually cause more of a disturbance, get more and more attention. That's what their movement relies on. It relies on momentum. And sometimes the only way to generate momentum, when people aren't really paying enough attention, is you have to get very controversial. And one of those that they've started doing quite often these days is comparing themselves to Holocaust victims. Yes, and it's pretty fascinating. This is a great article by the Washington Post, but it details out a little bit of mostly unknown history where not only was disease rampant all throughout concentration camps, ghettos during World War II, but there was a black market trade for people to get vaccines. One single vaccine to help protect against something like typhus could be worth as much as 30,000 bowls of soup in a ghetto. That's pretty wild. But to an anti-vaxxer, the idea of the Holocaust, the idea of the slaughtering of people, is nothing more to them than a talking point, a way to try and emotionally influence people to their side. For them, making this comparison that they're comparable to Holocaust victims or that there's going to be a genocide because of vaccines, this is all just a talking point. None of it is done with actual respect and consideration for the things that happened in the past. That would mean anti-vaxxers would actually have to consider other people, which, as has been evident, they never really do. Otherwise, they'd probably have a problem with spreading propaganda that could lead to, more sick children. But anyway, let's get to the article. An anti-vaccine activist threw a menstrual cup with a liquid that appeared to be blood onto the floor of the California State Senate while yelling, "That's for the dead babies." The liquid was tossed from the upstairs balcony and splashed across several lawmakers, forcing an evacuation of the legislature and a quick recess. Rebecca Dalelio, 43, was arrested and booked on 6 charges, including vandalism and battery. She was one of dozens of protesters to descend on the state capitol over the past few weeks to protest bills that would seek to limit medical exemptions for vaccinations. Medical exemptions for vaccinations. Now, consider this. So medical exemptions are a really interesting thing. They are very specifically for children who are immunocompromised or have some sort of disorder in which they cannot be vaccinated. It would be very dangerous for them to be vaccinated. Now, anti-vaxxers for a while now have been able to find crank doctors, some of which will even pay them for this service, to say some minor ailment, some little problem that the kid has, well, then they can't get vaccinated, and they write them an exemption. For instance, not that long ago, I read an article of a doctor who wrote an exemption for a little girl with psoriasis. Well, she has psoriasis, so she can't be vaccinated. That has never been supported by medical literature, ever. That's not a thing. But an anti-vaxxer found the right doctor to do that. These bills would limit that scope. And keep in mind, this is for vaccinations for acceptance into public school. They like to frame it as mandatory vaccinations, whereas if you don't have an exemption, you're going to get vaccinated against your will. That's not the case. This is if you want to be able to send your kid to public school, they had to be vaccinated unless there's a very good reason they cannot. These anti-vaxxers are arguing so they can put their potentially diseased children into public school with immunocompromised kids. That's what they're trying to do. Moving on. Here we have a picture. A protester in the Senate gallery appears to have just thrown some red liquid substance on the floor, hit Senator Hurtado, and landed on some of the senators' desks. They have left the floor. That's a nice little splatter there. These anti-vaxxers are engaging in criminal behavior. They've now repeatedly assaulted senators and are engaging in harassing and intimidating behavior every single day. State Senator Scott Weiner, Democrat from San Francisco, wrote on Twitter, "They're a cancer on the body politic and are attacking democracy." Senator Richard Pan, who was the author of the legislation and has been attacked by activists in the past, said the liquid hit him on his back and on his desk. Other senators were hit on the head, he said. Everyone is pretty disturbed and upset. It's like we've been saying, violent rhetoric turns to violent acts. This is a direct attack on the democratic process, and this should be condemned by everyone. This needs to stop. Some members of the state legislature went home to shower after the incident. Now we're going to take a look at the video here in just a second, and it's something special, let me tell you. But before we do, I did go and look at the public Facebook profile of this lady who decided to give these senators a shower of her period blood, and I was pretty amused by what I found. Back on the 14th of March, sharing a YouTube link, The Irrefutable Argument Against Vaccine Safety with author Del Bigtree. That is completely unsurprising to me. Completely. Because the thing is, and remember what we were talking about at the beginning of this video, there are people who will do anything, weaponize anything, apparently now including their period blood, to try and push their anti-vax agenda. Well, Del is really no exception. I mean, after all, he did show up on the on the steps of a building of law and pinned a Jewish Star of David onto his chest. I made a video about that, and I'll make sure to link that in the description. But yeah, I'm utterly unsurprised by this, 100%. Let's take a look at this video.
Number, Wachowski, Wiener, Wilk. No.
That's for the dead babies.
We will not have any disruption in the chamber.
Now, you don't get to see the throw, which is a bit unfortunate. I wanted to see if she had some good form. But they then shuffle everybody out into the hallway, and that's where the video gets really weird.
Vaccines do cause injury and death, and I'm here and I'm doing this for the babies that died so their voices can be heard, so that they don't die in vain, so that we are not here in vain, that they don't hear our voices, and now our voices will be heard. Their blood is on your hands. Their blood is on your hands. You make the laws, the illegal laws, that violate our human rights, that violate the California Constitution, that violate the Constitution of the United States, violate international law, that violate God's law, Yahweh, and he will not be ignored. And those babies' blood is on your hands.
Lady, nobody's baby's blood is on their hands. Your stank-ass pussy blood is all over your hands. In public. You're standing in a hallway. Frankly, dressed terribly. With your blood, your vaginal menstrual blood drying on your hands, ranting like an idiot in front of people. It's not even like she's just doing it in her living room. I wouldn't care. Do whatever you want. Everybody's got a kink, I suppose. But what is this? This is bizarre. This is so bizarre. Somebody who thinks that this is a good idea.
California State, Senate, and Assembly members, their blood is on your hands. My blood is on the floor of the Senate. Their blood is on your hands, and we will be heard. Their blood is crying out from the earth. It's crying out from their dead bodies. This is a violation of our human rights. It's a violation of international, state, federal, and God's law. And this house is built on lies.
God's law? God doesn't mention vaccines in the Bible. You know what? All right. Jesus Christ. Here's what I have to say about this, ultimately. It's very troubling to me when somebody is so fervently immersed in a cult like this, to the point where they will forego all sense of understanding of what might be a good idea or not. Her ability to judge her actions is incredibly compromised. Anybody who thinks that doing this is a good idea probably needs to be evaluated if they have children, for one, and for two, really, really needs some support from their family, because they're obviously going down a rabbit hole of dangerous proportions. This is wild. You can get the feeling from this video that she really thought that this was going to start a revolution, or this is going to be the point where the line was drawn in the sand. This was it, man. This was it. I mean, just here, look at just the last little bit before she gets taken away.
My menstrual blood is all over the Senate floor. The representation of the blood of the dead babies. Their blood is on your hands. You are guilty.
I really, words fail me. But to be honest with you, nothing really surprises me at this point, not when it comes to the anti-vax cult. For instance, not that long ago, Andrew Wakefield decided that he was going to claim that the next great mass extinction was going to happen because of vaccines. I will be making a video about that here in the future very soon. But you can be rest assured that they're going to continue doing wild things like physically assaulting senators and throwing their period blood and claiming that they're on the same level as Holocaust victims, because these people are insane. Absolutely insane. And I'm very thankful that so many strides have been taken to narrowing down medical exemptions so that we can protect children, because that's what this is all about. Despite the fact that anti-vaxxers are crazy, in their minds they think they're protecting children, so their goals may be noble, they're just very, very stupid. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for your attention. Just a quick little news video for you. I hope you are well. I hope your family is well. From mine to yours. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.